I forgot I like the new opening. Welcome to Action Corp 2003. It's our first show of the new year. This is show 11?
11, right? Yes.
Show 11, we've been doing this.
And we've got this, like, we've redesigned the set again, and it's supposed to be cooler.
There was a table here for one show.
Yeah, that was kind of dumb. We didn't like the table. See, here's the new set right there.
Yeah, there's an overview.
And we've got
new fluorescent lights.
The lights should help the cameras a lot because they looked like crap before. They were it was too dark. Way too dark.
I think we look good.
Hooray!
Craig's back in the control room.
Yeah, let's look at the control room, Craig. And he's got, you can see his, you see all his old 8-bit collection back there. Look at that stuff. Isn't that cool?
We'll tour the museum next episode of Action Corp.
That would be cool.
We've got Sean on deck.
Sean will be coming in. Yep, there he is. He'll be coming in about halfway through the show, so be sure to watch for him. What are we going to talk about first today?
First thing we're going to do is GameCube released Zelda the Wind Waker last 2 Tuesdays ago.
Killer game.
The game is incredible. It's cel-shaded. I was probably the biggest opposer to changing the Zelda genre to... Oh, okay.
There we go. We'll bring that up in a moment.
I didn't want it to be cel-shaded. I didn't want them screwing with the genre, especially after the video from Space World where they showed that very realistic Zelda or Link and Ganon striking off. But this is supposed to be different. This is a different character. This isn't the same Link that you played with in the old game. This is generations past, and now the new Link is coming to fight Ganon. The coolest thing about this game that I've found so far, that Chris and I have both found, is the GBA Link. There's an application for the GBA you can hook into the GameCube, and both players can play. One has, well, let's just show it off.
Yeah, let's show what it is. Let's go to the shoot 2 shot, Craig. I want to see. He's got his Wavebird there, and he's going to play the game. And I've got my Gameboy SP, which I'll talk about here in a moment. And of course, I've got the GBA to a GameCube connector cable. And this is probably the coolest use of this cable yet, and we'll show you. So in the game, he's going to bring up his menu in game.
This is the menu I've got. One of my items is called the Tingle Tuner. It looks like a little green GBA. Now when I select it, it asks me if I would like to call Tingle. I say yes, it downloads the data into Chris's GBA.
Which is doing right now. It's actually putting a little game in RAM on the SP, GBA SP. And here it goes. You can start to hear it here.
What's amazing to me is the GBA only has 256 megs. 256K of RAM. And so this whole application is running in RAM.
Okay, now on my screen, I get an overhead 2D view of everything that he is doing in the game. And to see that little cursor underneath his feet, that's me. Stand still for a second and I'll show him. I can just move myself around. Like I'm actually playing the game with the Game Boy Advance. And then at any time I could snap right back under him. And I can help him. So like if I wanted to drop a bomb over here on this guy, I just hit B, smoked him.
Oh gosh, it knocked her down. Do it again.
Okay.
Okay. Now that costs me rupees.
Right.
Everything that Tingle does in the game will cost Link rupees. So you really want someone you trust behind the wheel, or else you could really be in trouble.
Or you can or I can blow you up.
Also, Tingle could turn on me completely.
Yeah.
Tingle, try to catch me. Let's play a little game.
Okay, that's easy for me to catch you. I just have to do that.
Yeah, but not. Let's try.
Okay.
Unlock. Try to catch.
All right, here we go. It's not easy because I got to look on my screen here.
Well, you can do it from your screen.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Okay, here we go. Come here, you. What that call is called calling, and at any time, if I want him to see something on the other side of the screen, like, let's see, what can I show him? Let's say I want him to look at the other wall, I just go, and it automatically focuses him where I am on the screen. So that helps him find hidden things like hidden treasures and locks and keys and things like that.
It is affectionately known as "Hey," because that's what Link says, or Link. That's what Tingle says when he calls.
Hey, you guys.
So I guess I'm trying to think of anything practical we can show off here, but I'm not familiar with this dungeon. The other thing Tingle can do is he can find items that that you cannot find otherwise in the game. There are 5 Tingle statues, one in each major dungeon, that you can find. That only Tingle can find. He has to bomb a certain spot, and then you can sell those statues to him on his own island in the game for money. So you can't completely get everything in the game without the Tingle 2.
Yeah. And it's really great too because it takes a one-player game and really makes it two-player. I mean, normally in a game like this, it's just one person can play and the other person can watch, but this is cooperative. This is the first time the Game Boy Advance has ever been connected to a GameCube and actually affects the gameplay in real time. It's not just downloading some extra or something like that. Like, I mean, the closest thing would probably be, you know, Sonic Adventure's ability to download cows back and forth in between the Sonic Advance games. But this is really me playing along with Link in the game in real time. So it's really cool. If you've got somebody else with a Game Boy Advance, it's a great way for them to play along, and you know, and they don't have to just watch.
The game itself, we've talked mostly about this GBA to Cube Link, but the game itself is incredible. Also, the game, it's just beautiful. I've never seen cell shading done right. Really, I mean,
it's a style. It's not just the cell shading; it's the style of it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the basic choice they made was the cell shading. But there's a consistent theme through it. It's not just cell shading for the sake of cell shading.
Right. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Many of the dungeons remind me of like Aladdin from just the Disney one. It's almost like you can pause the game at any time, and it looks just like a drawing. It's just really, really pretty. This whole castle right here, I mean, everything's done. The textures are very simple, like the rock textures of the brick. Nothing super, super fancy, super, super detailed, but it's a consistent theme, and the game is beautiful. So, other than that, I had a package put together. I'll bring that for the next show. I was having trouble with my computer at home, but we'll get that together for the next show. The next topic we're going to talk about is the Game Boy Advance SP.
Now, this came out about the same time as Zelda. I think it was like a couple of days before, right? Wasn't it just a few days before?
I think it was the week before, because then we ended up getting Pokemon that same day.
That's right. That's right. I think you're right.
Yeah, that same day.
And this is it right here. I'm not sure how close you can get to this because on my camera.
Can you zoom in?
Oh, there we go. He's got a shot of it right here. The Game Boy Advance SP is basically the next revision of the Game Boy line. What does it add? It adds a lot. First of all, it adds a backlit screen, which is incredibly important. I don't even know how they got by without a backlit screen before. I mean, it was just a pain in the butt. And this is the first Game Boy ever. And there have been a lot of Game Boys. This is the first one ever with a built-in backlight. So that's really nice.
Well, it's not a backlight.
Well, it's a side light. Excuse me, you're right. It's a side light. And it's a very effective side light. You know, people talked about it washing out the image and stuff, but I don't really think it does. I think it looks just fine.
I think it does. I think it washes out the image. I think it's a fine trade-off to do that. I don't know. It just seems like it kind of blurs it a little. Not blurred, but it just seems like the colors are a little washed out. But it's absolutely worth it to be able to see it all the time.
Right, you can leave the light on all the time. And the reason and another reason that they could get away with putting a light in the Game Boy for the first time is because it also is the first Game Boy ever that has a built-in rechargeable battery. I'm not sure if it's lithium-ion or what. I didn't really look, but it's a really good battery. Lasts a long time. It's rechargeable. Comes with an AC adapter that you can use to recharge it at any time. Other smaller enhancements that I think were pretty cool. First of all, you saw how small it was in those photos. I mean, it folds up. It folds up to half the size of the original Game Boy Advance. We showed a photo just a moment ago.
Well, but I mean, to put it in context, to actually be able to.
There you go.
I mean, that doesn't do any good as far as relation.
If you held it up to a regular Game Boy Advance, folded up, it's about half the size.
Do we have a Game Boy Advance here?
No, I don't think so. But when you fold it out, like he's got it right now, then it's about the same size as a Game Boy Advance. I like the shape of it too. It's shaped more like the original Game Boys, which I like. And other thing that's got really good about it that not a lot of people have talked about, it's got a great speaker in it. It's much louder than the previous Game Boy, so you can really crank it up and hear it now. Really fantastic. I think they've got a winner on their hands. The only thing it doesn't have, and this is I know something that you're not particularly fond of, is that it doesn't have a you can't plug headphones jack. Yeah, you have to use this. It comes with like a new special multi-port adapter on the bottom, and it does certain things like the same adapter that you use. The same port on the back of it that you use to plug in the power is also you plug in a special adapter to plug in headphones. So they left out the headphones there, and we don't know why. We were debating that the other day, whether it was cost or space.
I'm sure it was cost.
Probably. But other than that, with the exception of no headphone jack, I think it's a winner. And another Game Boy related item is something that's coming out here real soon, and that's called the Game Boy Player.
This is a device that hooks underneath the GameCube. Well, that's not easily grabbable. It hooks into the serial port on the GameCube and basically just clicks right in there. It sits on top of it, and you slide your Game Boy game into it, and it's basically a modification of the Super Game Boy for the Super Nintendo. You plug your Game Boy cartridge into the device, and you can play your Game Boy on television. Yeah. We've got a movie of it. It's a Japanese commercial version. It's the ad that they were using in Japan to sell the item.
Final Fantasy Tactics Advance などのゲームボーイアドバンスソフトがテレビでも遊べるゲームボーイプレイヤー。ゲームキューブにセットするだけで新しいゲームのスタイルが始まります。任天堂ゲームキューブゲームボーイプレイヤー。
Now in that ad they have the silver, the indigo, the spice, which is the orange. From what I've read, excuse me, they're only going to release a black in America. Turn on your mic. I was told my microphone was supposed to be turned off. Right?
That is much better.
Now, in that ad, it showed the platinum, the orange, which is called spice, the indigo, and the black. And from what I've heard, only the black will be added to the. Well, that's the only one that's going to be available in America. I hope it changes because people with indigo and platinum GameCubes are going to be angry. But that's what I've heard is coming out so far. Now, Sean is joining us. He's going to tell us a little bit about his latest Xbox escapades.
Well, basically, what I've done is I have, to make it short, flashed my onboard BIOS chip in my Xbox, so I no longer need my mod chip anymore to be able to do the homebrew apps, the emulators, the things that I've been doing. It kind of came about out of necessity. My mod chip had been removed and installed so many times that the screw hole was stripped out and my chip would slip because there was not enough pressure to hold it in. So finally they made a fairly easy way to flash the onboard just by grounding out the mod chip and tricking your Xbox into thinking after it was booted that the onboard BIOS was what it had booted from. So we have a couple pictures here. I'll show you some quick. This is the LPC bus header right here where the Matrix mod chip sits. It sits on the points that are marked in red is where the chip actually sits down. In the next picture here, you'll actually see the points that you have to up in the top that are marked as MCPX. That's a ground point that you have to connect to be able to enable flashing the onboard BIOS chip. Then in the third picture here, you'll see the point marked in red on the right is what's called D0. It's the ground point that basically you have to ground your Matrix mod chip to that, and then once the Xbox is booted fully up and thinks that it's running from the Matrix, you disconnect that wire, and then when you flash your chip, you're actually flashing the onboard BIOS chip. That is the onboard BIOS that you see at the top there with the white sticker on it. That's what they call the TSOP flash chip, and there's different brands for different models of Xbox. As of right now, the only Xbox model that you can do this to is the version 1.0. 1.1 or what they call the 1.2 now, you can't flash the onboard BIOS yet in this manner. You need a special BIOS flash to your Matrix mod chip to be able to trick it into doing the switch before you can flash the onboard. So I did it. It took me a while to do it. Basically, it was a user error of not connecting the ground wire all the way. Finally had to shove it in. You've seen those holes in the pictures are pretty small. Shoved the wire in there, taped it down. Once I did that, I booted up what's called the Slayer's disk. It's another hard drive and a utility prep disk in my Xbox. Flashed the BIOS and it worked like a champ. So my Xbox that's actually running behind me on the table here actually can run modified games. It can run homebrew games and utilities, and it has no mod chip in it. It is running straight off the. You have to move my controller here. It's in screensaver mode. So. We'll bring it up here. There we go. Okay. My Evolution X, what you're seeing now, this is my menu.
That's way cooler.
Yeah, this is a lot of people like the gears.
You should demo it a little bit because we got plenty of time.
The clock's not right.
We can. Yeah, my clock is not right because we're not hooked to a network connection, so my clock cannot.
But that night
right.
It worked.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. I have, of course, as we've shown before, Xbox games that I have copied to my hard drive. These are all mine that I've backed up. I do own these.
I live at 82.
Hey, they can do what they want because I do own these games.
The views
so
expressed by Sean are not
fine.
necessarily those of actioncorp.
That's quite all right. I'll break into the next segment here. What we're going to talk about is you've seen I had 2 Dead or Alive Extreme Beach volleyballs copied to the Xbox hard drive. The second one has actually been patched with something that's really going around the internet right now, and it's kind of making a lot of controversy with Tecmo, the people that have actually programmed and released the game. It's a nude patch. Now what they have done, there's 2 ways you can look at this. You can look at it from the totally perverted side of being able to play beach volleyball with 3D models of women that are completely naked. Completely anatomically correct in every aspect. More so than we even thought they were going to be. I can't, unfortunately, show any footage.
Is how much they actually had already built. Like the textures, well, not the textures. I figured when I saw the game that it was they built like a bare kind of like Barbie shaped girl and then put another model of a bikini shape on everywhere. But apparently they're just textures. It's just a texture that can be undone just as quickly as it was done.
Yes, the texture, the geometry was already there for all the body parts in full. I mean, everything is physically correct. It reacts physically correct. Any kind of jump, any kind of vibration. I don't know how in detail to go on here. Like I said, it is explicit enough that we cannot show it on here right now. The very interesting thing from the geek point of view of this is how they did this. They actually found out how to extract the textures from the Xbox executable, the XBE, and edit these in Photoshop. NVIDIA, it's their native format for their graphics chip. It's called DDS. It is their graphic texture format. There's a plugin readily available for Photoshop to allow game developers to edit these textures. They figured out how to extract the textures themselves, edit them all the way down to fit perfectly on the geometry, and then re-inject them back into the XBE, and it runs great. Now you do have to patch DOX Extreme Volleyball before you can do any of this kind of stuff. It has to be, the executable has to be modified to allow this to happen. Some Xbox games had to do that before they would play just from your hard drive. So it's readily available on different places like XboxSaves.com. The patches are always being modified for different things, and eventually, after the whole process of the nude phenomenon wears off, they will start making different things like different swimsuits, different shirts. It extends the game. It actually adds more to the game. Eventually, I will even make an actioncorp swimsuit or T-shirt for some of the models to wear, and we'll show that on an upcoming version of actioncorp. So the ladies will actually be playing beach volleyball with actioncorp T-shirts on with their logos. So it's something to come up and see in the future. It's just amazing how this stuff is already available and how quickly these guys can figure out how to pull these things from the executables, and they're just going by very general information that they find on the internet based on the chipsets and the file formats that are used in these games. These guys are not developers that get paid. They are not anybody that should have this kind of technical background, but they just have the time to do it and the want to do it, and the Xbox gives them that opportunity regardless of what the maker would like them to do. So it is very, very nice to be able to play. I didn't want to say Microsoft outright, but yes, Microsoft does not like them doing it. Tecmo has expressed their opinions as to them not liking that.
Tecmo has expressed their PR move to the press release was hysterical. They were like, we here at Tecmo do not think anyone should patch the naked patch into our game. Our game should not be used to play naked girls. Please don't buy the game and make them naked. I think it's they love this. This is selling so many more games. The fact that they can make a naked game, they're making that much more of a big deal out of it instead of burying it like they would want to if they actually wanted it to go away. They're threatening with empty threats on what they're going to do to somebody who patches it.
That's true, and they have said that they would try to find the original maker as well as the people that distribute the patch. Now, if they go against Xbox Save, that's a pretty big site, and they're making legitimate software that lets you be able to transfer your game saves to your Xbox. Now you can do it whether it's modified or not. If you have a USB flash memory stick of any kind, you can actually modify that and use it as a memory card on your Xbox and transfer game saves. That doesn't allow you to run the patches, but they're running legitimate software, so it'll be anxious to see if they just remove the patch, the nude patch from their site, or if they actually try to take legal action, or if it's just like Seth said, if it's just a PR ploy to get people to go out. Like enough guys weren't already buying it just to see the swimsuit-clad women anyway. And sadly enough, it is a fun volleyball game if you get right down to it. It's kind of like the grown-up version of Animal Crossing, I'd have to say, because the characters look a lot better, but you still got to collect stuff for them and trade things back and forth. So we'll have to see what Tecmo does, if it's a legit move or if they're just blowing steam to try to raise awareness for their game. So
I'm going with steam blowing.
That probably is, and rightly so.
Marketing wheel rolling, which is fine, which is what they should do. That's going to sell more games, and that's fine. I don't think they're really that upset that people are doing that, especially if they're going to build the physics for a nipple into the game.
That is true. That is true. And somebody did have to make a jiggle routine or something, because these women are, for the most part, physically correct. So, I don't know.
If we could show you some of this stuff, it's hilarious. If you have a modded Xbox, please, for the love of God, mod DOAX. You don't have to keep it, but just see.
I think we're running short here.
No, we're running, yeah, very, very short.
We're running very short.
We've got like
Zelda.
We've got like
show off
9
Zelda. I've got actually some plot points, some saves, and I can show you.
Do you have the point to where you can go in and show me the thing where you walk in the castle and it's all black and white, or is that too hard to pull up?
Yes. No.
I would like to see that because I have not seen it yet.
You haven't seen that?
Nope.
I thought you walked in when we did that.
Nope.
Okay.
You walked in the castle, but it wasn't all black and white and everything was frozen.
The plot, I don't want to give anything away in case anybody is wanting to play Zelda and hasn't yet. The plot is incredibly tied to Ocarina of Time, the N64 version of the game. Not the version of this, but this was the really, really good thing they did. Where's my memory card?
Oh, wrong there.
I got it. Incredible thing they did with the pre-selling of this game was they gave away a disc that had Ocarina of Time on it, just that you could play on the GameCube, which was an incredible idea, because then basically everybody who got that played through that game, got that fresh in their minds, and then went into this, and the plots are incredibly intertwined. So I will tell you what this place is, and Link doesn't know what this place is at the time, so this isn't really spoiling anything, but it's an incredibly key part in the game where he shows up at this castle. Right now, as soon as you arrive, you realize nobody's moving. Everything, all these creatures have been like frozen in time. It looks like the castle is being stormed. There are broken pedestals. There's paintings on the wall of Zelda and the King of Hyrule. There are knights frozen in time. But then the coolest thing I've ever seen, or that was in this castle, I got down here and then I decided I was going to turn around. I looked up and there's a statue of Link, from a full-grown Link from Ocarina of Time, right there with the Master Sword and his shield. And there's something strange about this castle. This is a familiar place. This isn't just a bizarre castle. This is.
And that sounds not a technical difficulty. I guess that's like a bell ringing or something.
That is a bell ringing.
Okay, for a very long time.
That was supposed to happen.
Okay.
That was him by the Triforce. It was making that feedback sound.
Is that what that was?
That's what I thought. That's what I was trying to figure out what in the game that was.
Yeah, when he gets down and it glows, he hears that feedback noise.
I will not show you what's down in that cave, but if you're a Zelda fan, you're going to want to go down there and see some incredible stuff. What else do we want to see in Zelda? Do we want to play more Tingle? I have another scene.
Take the boat around for a drive.
What is that? Take the boat! Yeah, this is clearly boat!
You haven't shown
Why would I not understand? Okay, we're going to go to the boat.
I mean, that's like a big part of the game.
Oh, I agree. I just didn't understand what this was. Like Chris Farley or something. Hello, hi.
Hello, Seth.
Welcome to Zelda. Right now, I'm going to show off the boat. Most of this game, which is different from any other Zelda game, there's not a whole lot of land. It's mostly ocean. You have to sail from one place to another. How did I do this? Oh, yeah. This boat, well, once you acquire a sail, you have to basically follow wherever the wind blows you until you get a device. It's a little baton called the Wind Waker. Why does he keep switching to me?
That was my bad. Yeah.
Where's that going?
That's not your game. That is an unhappy baby upstairs.
It sounds like he's dead. Okay. Once you get the baton, the Wind Waker, you can control what direction the wind goes, and then you can sail any direction you want. I don't know what I'm doing there. I've got a very, very cool song that I can play with the Wind Waker, which is basically the equivalent of the Ocarina in the previous Zelda game, where different songs will do different things. This is a very, very similar device they use. This, forever, you have to sail and sail and sail just for ungodly amounts of time. But then, more recently, I learned a song, if I can find it. There it is, down. That will speed things along. It's called the Ballad of Gales. And once you play the song, you select where you'd like to go. We'll go right there. We'll go to Tingle Island. We'll actually see Tingle in the game. And this song is the theme song of the Wind God. And once you learn to play that, then you have an opportunity to fly basically to anywhere there is a cyclone. So you end up here. And that saves a lot of time because it takes around 7 to 8 minutes to go in any direction fully in this game. To go from one side of the map to the other. So we'll land here. I'll show you a little team. That didn't sound right. That right there is one of the items. Well, I'll just look at it. Is one of the Tingle statues that Tingle can help you find. The only way to find them is to play with a second player using the GBA. This is what Tingle looks like. He actually made his debut in Majora's Mask. He helped the original Link through his quest in that game, and every once in a while he makes a comment about how familiar you look, because you look a lot like Link. That is Tingle. Whoop. Well, there we go. That's Tingle right there.
Not a pretty sight.
He is trying desperately to be a fairy. And thinks that Link is a fairy and calls him Mr. Fairy throughout the entire game. He kind of looks up to him as a hero. I don't know why I did that. Another funny move that I've acquired recently is it's sort of...
That was not slowdown, by the way. It actually does that little action hit there whenever he hits something.
Yeah, it does that. It's just kind of like a little matrixy thing. And it kind of looked like there was a problem for a while, but that's what that did. Sean, what do you think about it?
I look at the game from every game that I play. I always look at it from the standpoint of if you had to program that game. I wish I could say I was even close to any kind of caliber of making something like this, but it's really neat to see how they can take graphics. I mean, now you see games that are all 3D and it's all about a high polygon count and how intricate the models are. And to see a game like this that can draw somebody in as much as it's fun, like Seth and the people that are reviewing these games, and the graphics look so simple, even though they're still 3D. You know, it uses the cell shading they talk about, and it's kind of a stylized form of rendering, but. The way they do the model or the water, the models for the water, to make it look like you're far out in the ocean, things that are closer, the way they do the waves. It's such a simple way to do it, but it comes off so well that it's really, really neat to see how they're doing that. The facial expressions, even though they're cartoony, they still get the point across. Some of the bosses in the game that I've seen so far are incredible in their way they move. I mean, with, I guess, taking out some of the texture detail, they can also allow for a higher polygon count as far as the amount of movement it can have in its arms and legs and different limbs and things like that. So it's very neat to see the way they can do a game like this and make it done right. It's like Seth said, it's cell shading done right. So other games that you see, this is the one to compare it against. So it's very neat. Even though it's not my kind of game to sit down and play, I think it's a very, very well-made game.
Love it. That is all we have for this episode. Episode 11 of Action Corp. Next week, we're going to have a little bit more content. We're going to have a little bit more news. We're going to have a little bit more of everything. Thanks for watching.
Check the forums.
Yeah, that's right.
Please go to actioncorp.com.
What?
I wanted to say register.
We can go through actioncorp.com.
It's actioncorp.net. And
Oh, that's right.
if anyone's writing that down,
I own that.
He only registered the domain and everything, so he should know. But yeah, check the forums. All the stories we talk about are posted on there. Check the links. Everything's there.
anything you want to see, write to us, email us, put it on the forum.
And watch us next time.
Whatever it is.